Hello Yarn Smithers! In this video we are going to learn how to crochet, and we're going to learn how to start the very beginning of our crochet project. So crocheting is all about doing chains and crochet stitches. So you got to start with a chain, and we're going to start by making a slip knot. To make a slip knot, you're going to twist the yarn like that so that it's crossing over. And then you're going to take your tail end, pull it through, and pull it so that we have a slip knot here. Put the slip knot on your crochet hook. I'm using a size H hook, by the way, which is what we'll be using in class. And just pull it so that it's loose around the hook, so that it's not too tight but not too loose. And then bring this around, and again I prefer to hold the yarn with my right hand. You can hold it, or with my left hand, excuse me, you can hold it however you want. So we have our slip knot on our crochet needle, we have our tail down here, and we have our leading yarn coming over here. And to start off, you're going to wrap the yarn around the hook like so, and then you're going to pull it through your slip knot, and there you've created your first chain. So we'll do that again. Pull it through the slip knot, well, through the first chain. Now we have the second chain. Wrap it around, pull it through. Wrap it around, pull it through, around and through. Easy, right? So we're getting this nice chain. Whoops! I oopsed. It's okay though, because we can always go back, around and through. And for the sake of this example, I'm going to do 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. And then, before we turn back, we need to be able to make up for that height, because this stitch is going to be very tall. So to make up for that height, we're going to do an extra 2 chains. And since we're doing double crochet, technically you're supposed to do 3 chains, but I prefer to do 2. Again, that's a preference. If you want to do an extra chain, go ahead and do an extra chain. So we're going to skip 2, those last 2 we did. So there's 1, not counting what's on the hook. We have 1 and then 2, and then we're going to start working into this stitch right here. So on the first row, just to make it easier, I go through 1 loop, and this is how you do a double crochet. You go through the loop, you wrap your yarn around, and you pull it through just that first loop. Okay, wrap the yarn again, pull it through 2 of the 3 loops that you have on your hook right now. Here we go. Wrap your yarn again and pull it through the last 2. And we have a double crochet. So we have just this loop on the hook. We want to wrap the yarn around, and we're going to go into this next stitch, which is right here where my thumb is. Go through that loop, wrap the yarn around, pull it through just that loop, wrap the yarn around again, pull it through 2, wrap the yarn again, pull it through the last 2. Wrap our yarn around, go into our next stitch, wrap it around, pull it through 1, wrap it around and pull it through 2, wrap it one last time and pull it through for 3. So we're going to do this until we get to the end of our chain. Through the loop, oops, wrapping it around, almost there, just a few more. The first row in crochet, oops, is always the trickiest because you're just working with that chain and it's not a whole lot to work with. Sometimes it gets a little mucked up, but that's okay because the great thing about knitting and crocheting is that you can always take your work out and start it again. You know, it's just like having an eraser on a pencil. And here is our last chain. And that's how we start. Now, to go ahead and go on, I'm going to show you how to turn the work around so that we can do another row. So to do that, first we're going to chain 2 to make up for that height. And again, just to reiterate, with double crochet to make up for this height so that you can, start your second row, you're supposed to do 3 technically, but I prefer to do 2. That's just my preference. Please absolutely feel free to do 3 if that is what you want to do. So now we have our 2 chains, 1, 2, which makes this right here, this is our first stitch where we want to go into. So wrap the yarn around, we're going to go into this stitch right here, and we're going to go into both of these top loops. The only reason I went in through just one for the very first row is because it's just easier to do on the first row. After the first row is done, you can go ahead and go into both of the 2 top loops. So wrap your yarn around and then into both of the 2 top loops, pull it through, wrap it around, go through 2, wrap it around, go through 2. So let's do that again. We're going to go in through the top loops, both of them. Wrap the yarn around the hook, pull it through those 2 top loops, wrap the yarn around again, pull it through 2 loops, wrap it around again, pull it through 2 loops. And that is how you turn your work so that you can keep going on to do a second row. Now we're going to get to the end here, just because I want to show you what the last stitch in the row is going to look like, because it might throw you off a little bit and you don't want to miss it. And if you're ever unsure, you can remember we started with 10 crochet stitches. And remember how I said crocheting is all about chains and stitches? Well, here on the end here you can see that this is a stitch, and then this on the very end is actually that chain that we made so that we could turn around. So we have one more stitch left on this row. There it is. And crochet that, and if you're ever unsure, remember you can always count. So we can go ahead and we can count these stitches. We have our chain that we started this row with, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. which is what we started with. So we're set to go. So just chain 2, turn around, go into this first stitch and just keep on going. And there you have it. That is how we're going to crochet.